What if there was a show about traveling to parallel worlds? The same year, the same Earth, only different dimensions. A world where the Russians ruled America. Or where your dreams of being a superstar came true. Or where San Francisco was a maximum security prison. We started a podcast talking about it, inviting some friends to join us. Now we hope you all come along for the ride.
Hello, Sliders fans! Welcome to Fandom Entanglement. Today we are talking about Season 2, Episode 9, Invasion. And I'm Mike Bloxam. I'm here with my co-host, Damon Sugamelli.
Hello, everybody.
And today we've got some special guests from our friends over at Trexploration. We've got Albie Burge.
Hello, hello.
And Christopher D. Philippus.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome,
Let me
guys.
clear my throat. Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Hello. Hello. That sexy voice.
It's great to have you back, Albie. And Chris, your first time with us, so
Yeah.
good to have you both here.
I feel like this is the first time anyone's introduced me as being part of Trexploration instead of the Quantum Leap podcast. So thanks, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome.
Time is marching on. I'm just happy to be back with my twin daughters again, Mike and Damon.
Yeah. Well, just let everybody know. I know we said it when you were on, Albie, but go through your shtick again with Trexploration, or either one of you.
Oh, I'll let Chris do it. He's better at it.
Yeah.
So Trexploration is a radical concept. It's two middle-aged white guys talking about Star Trek on the internet. Like no one's ever done that before. Like we have really cornered the market on that. You can find us on our YouTube channel. It's Trexploration. It's youtube.com/@Trexploration. Is that how that works, Albie?
See.
Yeah, so it was all Albie's brainchild. He kind of dragooned me. He said, all you got to do is sit down and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, I'm watching episodes. I'm doing rundowns. I'm doing synopsises. I do like website stuff, but still, it's a lot of fun because mainly we just sit down and talk about episodes of Star Trek, and we are focused primarily on TNG. For those of you who don't know our Star Trek history, Albie loves all things TNG. I am on the fence about TNG, and I'm watching much of it for the first time.
Wow.
So we're having good discussions. We're also doing bonus episodes that feature all of the different Trek iterations. We've made our way through the first episode of every other series at this point. We're just about, as of recording this with you guys, to go back to the original series to talk about where no man has gone before. So if you want to hear us talk about TNG or TOS or DS9 or VOY or ENT or whatever three-letter Trek acronym that you can think of, we're covering it. So you can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/Trexploration. So yeah, please check us out. We have very long shows, and I apologize in advance. Some of them, they just go on and on. And we're going to bring that curse to your show tonight because we just don't know when to stop.
I know. What is your record show, Damon or Mike?
Don't tell them. 35 minutes, right, guys?
Because we'll outdo it. Chris will be like, it's 3 effing in the morning. I'm going.
Well, I was gonna say also, Chris, you wrote like a little book, called Foreknowledge.
Yeah, that was back in the Quantum Leap days.
So
before we did Trexploration, for those who might not know, Albie is also the creator of the Quantum Leap podcast, which has been around for a decade now. When Albie kicked it off, he got every guest star imaginable, including Scott Bakula, the Scott Bakula.
Right.
And he had to step away a little bit, and I had become a contributor to the show, and he asked me to sort of take the reins for a while. and we were doing it with me and Allison Pregler, the talented, hilarious Allison Pregler. She was our secret weapon.
Awesome.
And our dear departed late friend Matt Dale. And we were doing that for quite a while. It's currently on hiatus for obvious reasons. We will be coming back to it, but yeah, my cred in Quantum Leap world was about 1,000 years ago. I wrote a book in the Quantum Leap novel series. So
Foreknowledge is in my time
That's,
travel box back there. If we take a break later,
there
I'll
we
dig it
go.
out.
There we go. It's sort of over my shoulder here. Is this on video too?
Yeah.
So people
Yeah.
can see it on the interwebs.
Yeah.
So, so check us out at quantumleappodcast.com or trexploration.com and find us, our newest shows, our latest stuff at youtube.com/@trexploration, where we talk about Star Trek, The Next Generation, and all things Trek.
And occasionally sliders, because that's how I knew that, like, I got to get Chris on to talk about Invasion, because he... Yeah, you got to do your sliders impressions, guys. Well, I always did it.
Do your best.
Sliders.
Yeah, sliders. This is ASMR now.
Yeah, because you had mentioned on there on one of the episodes a while back that, like, Invasion was actually, like, you were talking about the Kromaggs, and, like, I actually like the Kromaggs. I'm like, okay, Chris, you're coming on to talk about them.
Well, I'm glad that my love of the Kromaggs is led to some good for somebody somewhere. Finally.
Oh yeah, it's very Sliders fans have a lot to say about the Kromaggs. They're all over the place.
You know, Chris, you know that's how you got Laura. You heard her talking about it in the library. She was like, Kromaggs, sliders.
Yeah, and that was that.
Love connection.
It was
I've
it
heard
was
this story
it was
many
it was
times.
a search encounter.
All right, Mike, you want to start doing the rundown of this?
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Good to have you here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So we'll run through our synopsis here. The original air date for Invasion was June 28, 1996.
Wow.
And we're going back a ways.
Yep.
From the DVDs, the description is the sliders land in the middle of a strange invasion, and Quinn uses the timer to bring down one of their ships. Before barely escaping, the sliders learn these new enemies can slide at will, and are soon captured on the next world. They learn their captors are the Kromaggs and are intent on conquering every parallel world.
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun.
So on Trexploration, Chris does episode recaps. And I asked him to do one for this one.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, let's
Okay, it
hear
might
it.
be a little bit. I might say some of the stuff that Mike just said, but
That's okay.
fine.
We want to hear yours.
all right.
Yeah.
This is how I do. I just watched the show and then I just wrote it off the cuff. So, here we go. Our
take it away.
team of what?
I said, take it away, Chris.
Our team of intrepid sliders fall out of the wormhole from I don't know which Earth because I didn't watch the previous episode. But the upshot is that
Doesn't
Rembrandt has gotten the brilliant idea of wearing elbow knee pads to prepare for the slide. And seriously, this is just occurring to them in the middle of the second season. Considering that sliding is equal parts falling from apparently dangerous heights, you'd think the gang would be nothing more than battered bags of chunky jelly at this point. But instead of lauding Remy for figuring out the obvious, they ridicule his sense of style. Elbow knee pads are fashion don'ts and broken bones be damned. Anyway, this new Earth seems to be in the midst of some kind of conflict. There are signs of disaster and fresh spray paint on car windshields declaring run, because spray painting warnings on abandoned cars is exactly what I would do in preparation to run fleeing for my life. This is bad. When do we slide? Quinn slaps the timer, declares that the rotten pile of gummy bears is being jammed by some kind of world-encompassing frequency. Not only that, there's an apparently alien ship flying low on the horizon, heading right for them. Quinn tells everybody to take cover, and they all run 7 feet in the same direction and crouch all together in the middle of a wide-open parking lot. For some reason, unfathomable, the ship still sees them and keeps coming. In a last desperate act, Quinn waves the timer vaguely in the direction of the ship, and it crashes because reasons. As the sliders pick themselves up, a bow-tied dude pops out of nowhere and gives a heaping helping of exposition. You just downed one of a wave of mantis ships that is part of the Kromagg invasion of our world, and boy, are they going to be cheesed. He then walks away with two oddly dressed females, and it turns out that they are all from a nearby loony bin, and what does this have to do with anything? Wade and Remy are like, let's run, but Quinn and Arturo want to investigate the ship. Upon boarding, they find that it is made of living metal, maybe like a Cylon Raider or maybe a Leviathan. Not a supernatural Leviathan, a Farscape Leviathan. What's more, there's an ugly dead pilot, which makes Quinn sad. But that is cut short by an alarm that sounds exactly, and I mean exactly, like a pig squealing. And that sends the sliders packing. They open a portal to the next world, but as they're jumping, another portal opens up in the sky above them, and another mantis ship emerges. Quinn and the prof amps Gray into the portal, and they all crash land with relief on French stereotype world, complete with baguettes and accordion balmusettes. As they dine al fresco with some killer rosé, the professor deduces that Kromaggs are not invading aliens, but sliders from an Earth that took a different evolutionary path, one in which the Cro-Magnons killed the Homo sapiens. We need to warn every Earth we go to of the threat, but how? Who would believe us? Turns out that won't be a problem because another portal opens in the sky and out pops a mantis ship. Turns out Arturo stole a bit of Kromagg tech from the down ship, and now the Mags have tracked them. They are quickly taken prisoner and brought to Outpost Earth 113 for interrogation. Turns out the Kromaggs are masters of gravity and also have a whole telepathic mind control thing going on. They try various hallucinatory, that's it. That's what it is. Again, I write these on the fly. They try various hallucinatory mind bleepery on our heroes and get them to reveal the location. I'm going to try that once more. Edit this, Damon. They try various hallucinatory mind bleepery on our heroes to get them to reveal the location of their original Earth, but to no avail. Our sliders vow not to give up any info, even though they have zero idea of how to get back to their original Earth. Stand strong, sliders. Enter Mary, a human liaison from a conquered Kromagg world. She explains to Quinn that the Mags were a fractious warring society, but once they discovered sliding, they discovered a gazillion worlds where Homo sapiens ruled, and they couldn't have that now, could they? They banded together and started conquering all the stupid humans they could find. They are especially interested and afraid of Quinn and the gang because they are the first Homo sapiens that they have ever seen with sliding tech. But Mary is emboldened by the sliders, never considering that standing up to the Kromaggs was even an option. She gives Quinn a skeleton key, and they bust out of the prison, which also seems to be some kind of Kromagg museum for some reason. Mary has retrieved their timer and set it to bring them back to French stereotype world, but as they're making their getaway, the Kromagg forces descend and kill Mary. Quinn hugs her limp body and says, "I will avenge you," before returning to Rosé all-day world. As they are left to sip and ponder their fates, we cut back to Kromagg world. Mary is very much alive and being rewarded for leading the sliders down the primrose path. Now that one of them has a tracking device implanted, the Mags are going to track their movements until they lead them to Earth Prime. Diabolical laughter and ostentatious mustache twirling ensue. The end?
That's it. That's a wrap. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, we don't need to do the podcast now. Chris is done for us.
I'm sorry,
And that's what you get paid for.
I was reading a little bit fast there, so... I always say I'm going to take a breath and calm down, but then I don't. And I stumble all over my
It's
words.
exciting. It's a roller coaster. It's an adventure.
I kill all my jokes. But anyway.
All right, Mike. Get us through the...
Yep. Well, Chris catches his breath. I will go through our cast. We always go through and mention, of course, our main cast of Jerry O'Connell as Quinn Mallory, Sabrina Lloyd as Wade Wells, Clavant Derricks as Rembrandt Crying Man Brown, and John Rhys-Davies as Professor Maximilian Arturo. Our deep dive isn't so deep this week, but we have our guest stars, Una Damon.
What?
Damon.
What?
Is that Mary?
That's Mary.
Is that Mary?
He was Mary, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She had a couple roles in some 1998 movies, including The Truman Show and Deep Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Lee W. Weaver as Hilton Brown, a.k.a. Remy's dad.
Yeah.
From another Earth, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
He, where I recognize him from, was he played the blind seer in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I just picked up that soundtrack yesterday.
It's an awesome soundtrack.
Yeah.
He was also apparently in the pilot episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And he had many, many one-offs in 80s and 90s sitcoms, including, this is another place I remembered him from, he was Ed on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who's the, I don't know, handyman who goes on a date with Uncle Phil's mother. So, and then, of course, our with credit that we found some information on was Jason Gaffney as the prisoner, who looks an awful lot like Benish. So I wonder if they recognized him or not. But
I did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
This episode, of course, was written by Tracy Tormé, and it was directed by Richard Compton. And as designated by EarthPrime.com, our worlds visited were Kromagg Outpost 66, Nouvelle Versailles, and Kromagg Outpost 113.
113. Okay. All right. So, what do you guys think? You guys go first. Chris or
First
Albie?
impressions.
You guys pick who wants to go first.
Christopher. I always work off him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I should give you guys a little bit of context of my Sliders fandom.
Yeah.
Came out 1995, and I was thrilled. I could not wait to see this show. I was just like, oh my God, you thought Quantum Leap was cool. Now they're going to slide to different worlds, and it's going to be great. And to me, the what if premise led to, in my mind, so many endless possibilities. And imagine my utter disbelief week after week after week after week when the show failed to live up to any of the promise that I had envisioned for it. I wanted to love Sliders. I had a hard time watching Sliders. That being said, I think I watched all the way through, even when it became a sci-fi series, and it was just Mallory. And I'm sorry, are we jumping through timeline? Can we spoil?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. When it was Kari War and Mallory, and poor Wade was in a Kromagg breeding camp somewhere. I even watched it up till then. I can't honestly remember how the series ended, but Sliders is the show that I always wanted to love, and that I just stuck with it because I thought the premise was so promising, but where I was constantly disappointed in how disjointed and how there just seemed to be no bottom. It just, when you thought it couldn't get any weirder or worse, it found a way. That's not to say it didn't have its high points. Yeah. So this is why I talk about the Kromaggs. When the Kromaggs came on the scene, I was thrilled because it finally gave the show a sense of purpose. It gave it something for them to fight against. Because if you're not going to do the what if scenario in a compelling way every week, if you're just going to do it dumb, I think the only one that was really very clever was the sports academic world, where they were doing the basketball and they had to answer. That was a really cool idea. Yeah. But after that, it was just like varying degrees of this is kind of obvious, this is kind of dumb, this is kind of cliche. And the Kromaggs come on the scene, and it becomes so much more sifnal, right? You have this invasion, but it's not aliens, it's from a different Earth. And I was just like, wow, they're going to do great stuff with this. So I was really jazzed the first time I saw this episode. And upon rewatching it tonight, I was just like, wow, this show must have been really bad if I thought this was a great episode. Albie?
I don't know if I can follow that, but I'll try. Sliders for me, I watched it all like you did while it was on. I loved it and slowly got more and more disappointed as it went on. The saying goes, Sliders doesn't end with a bang, but a whimper. I can hardly remember the end, except maybe Crying Man was still around by then. I enjoyed it. It was something to watch, and I think my love of the first few seasons probably carried me through the end of it. But what was cool about Damon and Mike having this show, when I guest starred, I think second episode, fifth episode, depending on how you do it, it was the hippie one. And so I rewatched up until that point, and I really enjoyed it, and I vowed to keep going, but I didn't. But I did after that night order the complete series.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I found out we were doing this one, I started rewatching them, and I watched through the whole first season in the last couple of days, and I really started falling in love with it again. And I was I know why I liked it to begin with. For me, it was a strong opposite of Chris. It was a very strong series up until the Kromagg stuff started getting stuff weird. And I was like, that was the beginning of downhill for me, you know? So just great concepts in general. And I just loved it. And this episode, it was okay. It felt a little weird. It was almost like an amalgam of, I think you mentioned before, like Farscape and different things. And for me, it was like, if this was the first episode of anything you watch sci-fi, this is why you wouldn't watch sci-fi anymore.
Wow.
Okay.
But
we might have to fight it out, Al.
But now that I've watched it up until then, almost I've had to skip a couple because of time and me starting late. But now that I watched it up until then, I enjoyed it. But I don't think if I went in blind and that was the first episode I saw, I would have dug it so much. And Wade Wells.
Yeah, I think also the thing that again had an advantage having watched the series up until that point and being invested in what the series was. This shook things up quite a bit, and to me it gave the series a new sense of possibilities, even though the possibilities to begin with in this premise are endless. So
Yeah.
All
right.
It was a good example of things. Butterfly effect. You change one little thing, and of course, different Earths. How many millions, billions of things have changed? So everything would be different. And just what Cro-Magnons went in instead of the Homo sapiens. That should happen more often, you would think. We were really close to becoming extinct at one point.
And I got to figure if you got to think we have an infinite multiverse, just like an infinite universe, there have got to be an infinite amount of worlds where the Kromaggs have gained dominance. It's fun to think that they just by sheer chance missed them, but then you have to think there's an infinite amount of worlds where they didn't. So what are the odds? You know?
Yeah, you would think. Yeah. All right, Mike, what do you think?
I would say it's certainly the most sci-fi episode of Sliders thus far. We're encountering aliens with a hovering spacecraft, except, as mentioned, the aliens are just from an alternate Earth with highly advanced technology. So it certainly establishes the Kromaggs as a new enemy to be feared. And overall, it was a tense episode. The only really lighthearted humor that we're kind of used to in Sliders was on the French North America world, and then Remy, of course, bragging about his knee pads. So
yeah. I'll just say, I love this when I first saw it. I still do. I think it's still in my top 5 of Sliders episodes, just because we know that this series does take a big it goes downhill fairly quickly, pretty soon. So like,
am I the only one that liked Charlie being in the cast?
I didn't mind him so much. I mean, yeah, I have to kind of watch it again to really.
Yeah.
I think when we recently rewatched it, I was like, oh, Charlie's not so bad. I was watching it with my wife and my mother-in-law, and it was like, okay, he's not as bad as I thought he was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, admittedly, the Kromaggs were very overused. Once we get to season 4, they overuse them a lot, and they changed them to they kind of end up becoming more like Nazis and not like real. Yeah. That's kind of what happened.
I remember them being space ape Nazis, but this was more like Land of the Lost Chaka.
Yeah. This is where they were scary, and I kind of they're really good. I liked this idea a lot. And I was a fan of the evil leaper concept in Quantum Leap. So this was these are evil sliders, and they got the red thing to boot too. So
that's right.
Yeah. Blue. Apparently, wormholes know your intentions before you go through them, whether you're a good guy or bad guy. They have an opinion.
Yeah, it was in my notes, but that's how you know they're evil, when the energy thing is red instead of blue. Because they're evil.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
all right. All right, I don't think we need to get into the alternate histories or anything. So
we don't know why there was French North America or
not really.
whatever.
No, yeah. But
Je suis la chef.
yeah.
Well, the French did help us in the American Revolution. Maybe we adopted their ways in that world. And didn't we buy? Wasn't the Louisiana Purchase from France? Maybe we never made the Louisiana Purchase. I don't know. This is me spouting maybe history that I sort of remember from grade school. So
It wasn't in Hamilton, so I'm not sure.
I mean, at least in British North America, there was a battle between New France and British North America, and the British won, and that's why Quebec became part of Canada. Before it was even called Canada.
Love Canada.
Yeah.
I'm a Canadian at heart.
Maybe
And when I travel abroad.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Maybe the war went the other way and the French won and they just kept expanding. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I blame Canada with their big flappy heads and their beady little eyes.
Mike has disproven the stereotype with his gorgeousness.
All right. Well, we can
All right,
try
well,
to go
then
through it.
let's-
Yeah.
Let's jump
try.
through our walkthrough, I guess.
This is what you and me
so-
wrote. So
Yeah, well, yeah, you guys feel free to jump in whenever you want. I did love how Remy bragged about his forethought to wear the elbow pads and knee pads. He had a bike helmet as well, but I don't think he was ever wearing it on his head. He was carrying it around later, but you think he would have put that on too. Yeah, and then they were berating him for not being fashionable enough. Like,
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'd rather wear pads than get fractures.
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
And if they're doing a little bit of rolling, they're wearing pads underneath their outfits.
mm-hmm.
And then, of course, their stunt doubles are probably all padded up.
Right.
That would have been a good slide where they slide and you see the stunt doubles.
yeah,
And they do the whole slide.
But I mean, that was like the level of discourse on the show. This was the comic relief, basically
Yes.
turning Remy into the one kid at the bus stop who had the foresight to bring an umbrella in the rain.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you, that umbrella. Oh, you're such a nerd.
And then pops it open
I'm
and
dry.
rains. Yep.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the humor doesn't last long. Or not, unfortunately, I'm used to more humor in Sliders. That's all. But of course, they encounter that strange ship disrupting the timer.
Yeah. And this was a side note always from the last one, from the way Obsession ended was. Now, did you watch it, Albie? You said you saw the end. Or?
No, I went for watching Invasion twice.
Okay.
Just so I had it all in my brain.
At the end of the
But
previous,
I'm going back to it tonight.
Oh yeah, at the end of the previous episode, Obsession, because by this point they were kind of ditching the continuity, but they tried to throw it in. If in production order, Obsession is before this, even though in air date order it's. Oh no, it is still before, but they have a few episodes in between. But he's like, there's a seer. He's like the psychic guy, and as they leave the previous world, and he's looking at the wormhole. It's like he has this look on his face, like I've just seen where they're going. And he looks like really worried and concerned. But if he sees where they're going to the next world, it wouldn't be this world because Remy had to get those knee pads on somehow. He didn't leave the previous world with that, but they were referring to this one.
Can you do stuff when you're in the wormhole, or do you just become incorporeal like a matter stream?
They've shown it where they show them actually just kind of like almost like flying through the wormhole. So they're
and they mentioned what was that in there, or
you
hit my butt hit your head in there or something like that.
They feel stuff.
So they can bump into each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But anyway,
the seer.
Yeah.
But they're all wearing different outfits. So from Obsession.
Mm-hmm.
So they've obviously made at least one other stop in between.
Right. And and like like you said in your recap, Chris, the timer now is suddenly weaponized. Like, how did that?
I
that
couldn't
happen?
understand. Like, I was going to ask you guys to explain that to me because you have vast Slider lore, but it just so it's jammed by whatever frequency they have. Is that intentional by the Kromaggs? We don't know. Is that just some kind of side effect of their technology? We don't know. But how does Quinn just vaguely pointing it in the direction of the ship crash the ship?
I have no idea.
My thought was it just happens to be on the same frequency, so it jammed whatever they were using, and maybe it has to be the same frequency because that was a frequency that opens wormholes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like the same technology just working against itself. That was my headcanon that I put in there.
Well, Quinn said it was like putting turning on a mega laptop inside of an airplane. It just set the gyroscope
Right.
or whatever.
Which isn't true.
Right.
Question.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
What's a mega laptop?
Yes.
I know.
Basically, a laptop from 1996. They're about 35 pounds. Lasted about 15 minutes.
I kind of thought the same thing.
Yeah.
If only the timer had airplane mode, none of this would have happened.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a good question.
So.
And you had a good thought, Mike, too. Like what you say here next with the.
Well, when they go to investigate the wreckage, Arturo picks it up and says, "Oh, this is organic metal." Well, how did he know it was organic? Just by looking at it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it was
it
sweating.
moving?
I don't know.
Ooh, maybe it had scales or
The way he
something.
was touching it was like it almost looked like he was gonna like
Yeah.
almost looked like he was gonna taste something, but he's looking like maybe there was blood on it. Like I don't know. Is that?
I thought it was some kind of oil or the jet fuel left or something.
I don't know.
It's obviously gasoline powered by the explosion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, for the mental patient, that guy was pretty articulate and theatrical. I want to say that for a mental patient, he was like, like I always laugh at that twin daughters thing too. So I was cracking up.
I mean, but honestly, like what was that? What?
Yeah.
Like this is how you're going to introduce? Is the show just having fun? Like
Probably.
Yeah.
I think
it was
Tracy
so weird to
Tormé
me.
was a little high when he wrote this, and it probably makes sense if you're high when you watch it. But I wasn't, so it didn't.
He had been wanting to do this episode for a long time, and they didn't want him to do it, and he's like, they finally let him do it. I kind of a little discussion about that later, but yeah, and then they talk about Kromaggs eating the human eyes, and maybe he has
Like Philippa Giorgio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember the conspiracy episode of the Next Generation, and they were also eating like the weird. I don't know. Maybe Tracy Tormé has a thing for
Just
aliens
gross.
eating like really gross, weird stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
He's a good writer.
yeah.
So was he not the showrunner? I think in the credits it kept saying John Landis, Tracy Tormé, and somebody else, right?
Yeah, we never mentioned that John Landis was like a producer on this for at least in the beginning. But I think he was still the showrunner at this point. But it was early on in season 3. He pretty much was like done. So at this point, he still was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Mike, you got.
Yeah. Well, speaking of mental patients, was it just me or was Arturo's? Not talking about you, Albie. Arturo was berating Rembrandt for using the word fruitcake. It seemed like that was edited and inserted later. It just seemed very out of place, and I don't know if the censors didn't want to be getting angry letters about using unpolitically correct language. It was just a very odd thing to throw in when they're in the middle of this kind of tense investigation of a wreckage.
Yeah.
But the professor's often the one to be using inappropriate language anyway. So
I mean, all he did, he just impugned the French as long as the whole.
I think it's okay to make fun of the French, but just not mentally ill.
Mentally ill, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He goes on his own tirade later on, like French folk. So it's like the kettle. The pot calling the kettle black, right? Like, who's really Arturo?
I had never heard fruitcake referred to as crazy people. I don't know. Maybe I always understood that differently.
No, I've heard that before.
Learn something new every day.
They even did a pun on it in Search for Spock. When,
Nutty as a fruitcake.
Nutty as
fruity
fruitcake.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Here he's fruity as a nutcake, is what he says. Watch it, Tiny.
Don't call me Tiny.
Anyway.
Well, I think Chris already mentioned it, but Quinn and Arturo entering the Manta ship were definitely shades of a Cylon ship. I was very getting Battlestar Galactica vibes there.
But wasn't this out years before the reimagined BSG?
Yes. Yeah.
So was the original? I've never watched the original Battlestar. Did they have any kind of organic ships in that, or were the Cylons?
I don't remember organic ships. I watched it through once about 5-6 years ago.
So maybe like when Ron was on Star Trek: The Next Generation and Tracy was on Next Gen, although I think Tracy might have left before Ron got there, but maybe they got high one night in the writer's room and just like, imagine organic metal ships, man. And they both used it in certain different ways.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
What I wondered about was that explosion was so huge and large. How is there still a ship left to walk into and find?
Yeah, we're not sure what exploded there.
Well, it was an organic ship, and that ship had just eaten a lot of tacos, so it had a lot of gas. So, I mean, and what's the first thing that happens when you die? You poop yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's probably it.
I think really,
makes sense.
That's ironclad right there.
Maybe it's part dragon. Could have been a dragon.
Okay, is your continuity good now? Is it okay?
Flat floors. Yes, it was on an angle, but flat floors.
Yeah.
For an organic ship was kind of confusing to me, but I guess budget.
One thing I'll point out is the little clue for post-traumatic slide syndrome, which is next. Arturo is wearing regular glasses and not bifocals, because that comes up in post-traumatic, which is next in airdate order. That was before, but again, we're doing the whole weird. We do it in the continuity order, production order, but that's like we'll
the DVD set is continuity, right?
The complete series, yes. Yeah. That's
okay.
the order.
That's what I'm going by.
Apparently, is the order that was meant to go in, which is the order that we're going in.
Albie, I wonder. We're going to do TOS in production order, not in air order, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Because we're not starting with the man trap, was it?
Yeah. I think that was episode 6 or something.
Yeah. No, we're going to go in production order.
Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So there, great minds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and speaking of, we're having Mike and Damon on for Conspiracy, right?
Yes.
Were we announcing that yet? Is that a secret?
Not anymore.
I guess we can say it now. I guess we can say it now, or we'll say it again later on if I decide to edit it out.
Okay.
But
because that's another Tracy Tormé thing, like you were saying.
Okay, we'll talk more about that at the end, I guess.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fine.
Albie, you just ruined Christmas again.
Alexa, play.
And Mike, did it seem...
Alexa, pause.
And Mike, did it seem to you like they were kind of continuing this thread with the possible schism within the group, that only now it's like instead of Rembrandt and Arturo talking to each other about what's going on there, it's Remy and Wade. They've been building this up all season that something is about to happen.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, the scientists get to have all the fun, and you two noobs or lay people just stand outside and watch for trouble.
Yeah.
Why don't they all go on the ship? They get to have all the fun. Well, or you could just go on the ship with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, when did it become?
There seemed to be room.
It was just weird to me because they're supposed to be buddies, but they're giving Remy crap for preparing adequately. And then they're just like, you two, mundane, stay out here. You're too dumb for this.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. I feel bad about myself.
Well, they've been setting up...
It even gets Rembrandt to rant about being stuck in this sliding lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't this like episode 176? Haven't we heard this all already a million times? Do they have any other dialogue for Remy?
Remy is constantly complaining.
Wade says we've been over this before.
Already.
Yeah, when things are going great and he's like getting some and he's rich and he's eating well, he's loving life. The first time something bad happens, he's like, damn it, cue ball, you got me stuck in this situation.
Yeah. As you said, it's like I was trying to live a comfortable life as a beloved celebrity. Like keep telling me about that. Well, they've been setting up this whole thing with it's mostly been Arturo has kind of been expressing some like concerns about Quinn and like, oh yeah, we wouldn't be in this mess, and like they've set up some stuff about that he might possibly like go back and fix, like perfect the sliding thing and steal it and all this stuff. So that's kind of all comes to a head in like the very next episode, basically. So
I have a question.
The switcheroo thing. So
when do we got alternate Arturo? Is it before this or after this?
After
production order, it's immediately after this, but in order it happened before. which
You can't count air date order.
Which is
No.
where
So right
it gets
after
a little
this.
confusing because there's stuff that Tracy Tormé would have done, but I don't know if he even was aware of what order they were supposed to go in.
For some reason, I was waiting for it to happen in Eggheads, but it didn't. I don't know why.
It happened this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you. What do you say, Mike, about the time?
Well, yeah, they go to try to escape, of course, after the pig squeal alarm activates, and the two guards come chasing after them. They find a clearing to activate the timer, and Quinn says it's 23 seconds. It turns into 43 seconds, but whatever. Like it's
Those are TV seconds.
yeah, TV seconds are different from real world seconds. We've
10
learned
seconds
this.
are usually 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not nearly as bad, Mike, as Jillian of the Spirits, where it was like
No,
that portal was
not
open
nearly
for
as
almost
bad.
3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, leave already. Come on. I already mentioned the thing about the Kromaggs having the red vortex because it's evil. So,
Yeah.
How long did they ever establish, or is it just according to what the needs of the plot? Because you mentioned that, and I noticed that on the show. They'll open the portal, and then they'll just dick around for a half an hour talking about something before they jump out. Like, how long is that portal supposed to be open before the window
60
closes?
seconds.
they said it in Jillian of the Spirits. He said it shortly after it opened. It's like that portal's going to remain open for about 60 seconds. And literally within that same scene, as they're jumping through, because that was the episode where Quinn is trapped on the astral plane, and he can't join them.
I don't remember
Can't
that at
join
all.
them
What?
because it's not open on the astral plane. So Wade is spending like 2 minutes saying her goodbyes to him.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Like she
It sounds
has
like
to leave.
Discovery level. Now we know what the inspiration for Disco was. We have
Watching
30
season
seconds
one,
before Control destroys the universe. Let's have a 45-minute heart-to-heart in the hallway.
It's to me, it seemed like an automatic door in Star Trek. Like it just knows when you're done going through and how many people intend to leave or come. Yeah, it's just weird. It just waits for the last person.
Yeah.
And there is apparently, I remember them driving a truck through the. How did they not die in a bloody wreck when that thing fell out of the sky and killed about 4 or 5 people that were underneath it?
Well, the first episode, Remy hits an iceberg.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always falling out of the sky. I guess it's because it's just an easy effect to do, right?
Yeah.
You just put a flashing light up above their heads, and whoa, that was a close one.
I always worried when they jump in the basement, when they slide in the basement. How do they know there's a basement in that exact spot on a parallel Earth? They could just appear in ground. I don't know how that would
Or
work.
when they slid off a skyscraper, somehow they ended up on
where they're hanging over the water. Yeah. Does it just automatically go about 10 feet above the ground every time?
Apparently.
Sea level?
Yeah, is there a proximity thing in the slide matrix? Like, so that you don't end up spatially where you left?
Probably, yeah. There probably is.
Otherwise, they'd be dead a lot. They're jumping off a roof.
I wonder if I feel like they might have explained that more later on. I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's the Einstein, Rosencrantz, and Guildenstern Bridge, right? Is that what they call it? Right.
And Rosenkowski, yeah.
That's what the Heisenberg compensator's for.
Yeah, exactly. So
there was one episode where they slid out in a courtroom and slid back into the exact same courtroom.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which that makes sense to me that they're in the same spot, but that's because everything's all messed up.
Well, the thing is, though, so it's what always bugs me about time travel is like you have to travel in space as well as time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Otherwise, the second you time travel, you're just going to wind up in the void.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So is the bridge like that? Maybe it connects two corporeal realities to one another. I think sliding is actually a bit more technically feasible than time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to tether one world to the other, I guess, to create the bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. I never thought about that.
So every Earth is exactly at the same place in space-time?
No, I guess maybe it just attunes to another Earth. So no matter where that Earth might be in space or time or dimension, you got a link to it somehow. Maybe it's a vibrational frequency thing, and that's why they were able to crash the ship. Right?
Yeah.
There you
See,
go.
this is the author in me is coming out now. I'm
Yeah,
trying to,
yeah.
I like
I'm trying
it.
to
Write a
retcon
Sliders book.
all
Write a
of this
Sliders
stuff.
book.
Oh, I tried.
Did you?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, Sliders. This is the only one that came out was the novelization. I wish they had done
I have
full
that.
novels. Yeah, I wish they had done original ones, and they didn't. But
I have that.
you should.
How is it compared to the episode? Should I read it?
Are we going to do a slide and tell, or
That's later, I think,
We can
after
if
the
you
break.
want. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say. You should have written some, Chris. They should have had you as a writer. There would have been some really good episodes. Of
Oh,
Sliders.
let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I think back. Well, let's talk about it later.
All right. I was going to say they were on New France or whatever, and I just, again, Arturo's remark is he's like, I have a feeling this world is going to be even worse than the last one. He's just really, you were just with Kromaggs, but like and my question too was, what were they there for all of like 10 seconds, 15 seconds? How did Arturo figure that out, that divergence so quickly? Don't they usually need some explanation? Like Quinn and Wade were coming through the wormhole, and Arturo already knew that, like, oh, the French rule this country, apparently. Wade, how did he find all this out?
Because there were never baguettes like that in America.
I was going to say the baguettes.
Yeah.
That and the dog with the collar and
Yes.
the accordion music.
player, yep.
Right.
Yep.
The accordion player playing La Vie en Rose is a
Yeah.
dead giveaway.
Like, I know I'm in France in Epcot without even looking. I can just feel it. I can hear it and smell the baguette.
And the thing is, what you didn't see right off camera, there was a mime. So
It's weird that they didn't do that in this episode. It was in an earlier episode.
Oh, yeah.
The mime.
Mine, yeah.
And Rembrandt's laugh.
what other
was
French
priceless.
stereotypes can we throw at the screen? Let's see.
Rembrandt's laugh was priceless, too. He's like, he's just like giving the guy money. Yeah, and that, well, we're kind of saying it together, Mike. Yeah, that waiter was a real a-hole.
Yes,
Yeah.
Is that a trope? Just rude French people?
apparently.
Yes,
Especially
apparently.
waiters.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Arturo's
Being an
response,
Because we
A-hole
want
is
ice
funny.
in our beverages.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Arturo's response, just wait until he gets his tip.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys
But
have
you
to
don't tip in France, do you?
enlighten me. You can.
Okay.
I overtipped in France, from what I was told, which
So
is
it's
good
better
on me.
over tip than under
Yeah,
tip.
they think I'm an ugly American, but you know what? I gave you a nice amount of money.
Canadian. I told you travel as a Canadian.
But no, I'm American through and through. I couldn't pull off being Canadian. Since when did Remy become the keeper of the coin? What is he, Littlefinger? I mean, and he's not very good at it because he has no money.
Yeah, I had a
He's
feeling he
getting
got pickpocketed. Another French trope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Arturo lost his watch, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap! No,
No.
Arturo had to give his watch
He had
To
give
pay
his
for the
watch.
meal.
Yeah.
to pay for the
Oh.
rosé.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They had the rosé and the niçoise salad, and
Mm.
they were going to have to wash accordions.
Al fresco.
Watch
Yeah.
accordions.
Yeah, and he talked about, too, that from the casinos. Was that on the previous world, too? Like, all the
I don't know.
stuff
They just said the last time we were at a casino, so
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was the good, the bad, and the wealthy. I have a feeling to hit another casino because he just
Oh,
took
okay.
chips.
Yeah.
So
the
do you
good, the
guys
bad,
take
the
it for
wealthy.
granted that there are slides that you just haven't seen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
there have to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah,
just
they
because
have
of
to be.
narrative hints that are dropped.
Yeah,
Yep.
oh, yeah, there have to be, yeah.
And because the one thing with Quantum Leap is when you're doing an individual Quantum Leap story, you can say, well, it's feasible that we never saw this. Even one leap always led to the next
Right.
leap.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, well, this was a leap we didn't see.
Yeah.
But on sliders, they're literally telling you, we got to do this. You don't get to see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they,
Or you only get to see like 2 minutes at the beginning of
Right.
an end or an end of an episode
Yeah.
for
Yes.
like a one joke thing
Yeah.
that they didn't think they could make into an episode,
Right.
which they should have.
Mhm. well,
Yeah,
they,
like the Naked World with the naked mailman, and
Naked World,
yeah.
or where
that'd be hard to film a
Oprah
whole
was a
episode.
slave
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
Wade. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that tropical beach world. Were
Oh
they
yeah,
just hanging?
right.
oh,
Or
yeah,
Wade.
yeah.
Where Arturo was Wade's slave for 9 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and wrongly so, because he actually did win the election.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I was gonna say they tried to connect it early on, but when they were starting to show the episodes out of order, it was like, well, like we can't do this because they're showing them out of sequence, so we can't do what we want
Yeah.
to do. So they were trying to in the early days anyway. And
Fox, man.
yeah, yeah. And this got me thinking when Arturo pulled the homing beacon out. So you we kind of said this too. How are they carrying stuff from world to world just in their pockets? Like, why don't they have? I was thinking the same thing. Shouldn't at this point maybe they have like backpacks or something that everybody's wearing to carry everything? Like,
emergency food supplies.
Exactly. You think you'd bring like,
antibiotics,
at least some rations or some medicine or just basic like some water.
Yeah.
You know,
feminine hygiene products.
Yeah,
because you don't know that's going to be on the next world.
I mean,
right?
you could be on French World and you're allergic to rosé, and then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So
anti-shark spray.
Yeah. And Wade is supposed to be keeping a journal. So where are they pulling all this shit out of thin air? Like, really?
Yeah. No, there were episodes when Wade had a backpack, and
there were.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Yeah, but
I haven't gotten to them yet.
But it turns out those are even dorkier than knee pads. So you gotta get rid of it.
All right. Well, we're up to where they're all captured now. So
right, because the new Manta ship comes through a red wormhole and immobilizes them. Yeah. Chris,
Question.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Manta ship conquer Frenchy World?
I'm kind of wondering the same thing.
Like they just went back and there were no Kromagg invasions.
Well,
the other thing that I'm curious about this, they said that they invited the Kromaggs to the first Earth that they were on to settle some kind of dispute.
Yeah.
So how did they even know about the Kromaggs?
No, I think that was.
I think that's propaganda.
Propaganda,
I think so.
I was saying this episode is very timely.
You mean
for right now?
Bow tie guy is not a reliable source of information. Man, you're rocking my whole world here.
They should have asked the twin sisters. They knew what was going on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was totally propaganda.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, or brainwashing or something. Yeah,
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't Mary later on in the tropical garden thing say that it was an invasion?
Yeah, she tells them the truth because she's alone and they're not watching her. So I'm like, now I can say what's really going on.
Right.
Yeah, you guys are effed. That's what she. Yeah.
But that was a ploy too, right?
It was.
I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I already spoiled it in my recap.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
People who are watching this should know. Like we don't. I think we said that. Like we don't really. We're not really spoiling anything. I think so. Anyway.
Yeah. So they've been captured, and then I guess we flash forward to Rembrandt and Quinn discussing their imprisonment. Remy doesn't know what time of day it is, what meal he should be ordering, and then someone says there are no clocks, but Quinn is wearing a watch. He goes up to brush his hair or something, and you can see a watch under his peeking out under his top. I did kind of
catch it on the second watch.
I don't know if that's a goof or if that was just Quinn was like,
I'm thinking because they don't carry any supplies with them, that watch's battery ran out 5 worlds ago.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh,
They're too vain. They're too vain to carry spares.
Yeah, he just switches it out randomly on a different Earth.
Also, that's his dead dad's watch.
That's
Maybe.
true.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's still alive.
Saving it for the next time they want to dine and dash, maybe.
He knows that it's his watch because when he undoes the clasp, it squeaks.
That part still breaks my heart.
Yes.
Had to put some WD-40 on it, didn't you?
Oh yeah. And I thought that was pretty creepy, that scene with Rembrandt walking through with all the stuff that he's seeing. I mean, this is a dark episode. We haven't gotten anything like this in Sliders. But he's but a random thought that entered my head when he's talking to his dad, because so obviously there was another Rembrandt on this world. He's like, oh yeah, you can join us and your sister and all this. It's just a random thought that just kind of popped in my head as I'm watching. Like, the Kromaggs probably have duplicates of people in captivity, right? Like, so this is
that would make sense.
I'm wondering what that looks like. That's something out of a comic book stuff, like almost like.
Well, I thought, and maybe the next scene kind of plays out on this, that was just a hallucination projected by the Kromaggs.
I wondered that too,
because it felt like Rembrandt was seeing a hallucination of Arturo or vice versa at some point, Anyway, I was writing notes and watching kind of with half an eye on my page, half an eye on.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed to me like, again, there was a bit of mind bleepery going on, and I thought that the dad was just something they pulled out of his subconscious. But then maybe
Not
would they
even
make
there.
would they make the sister mistake? Then they're
Exactly.
pulling it right from his memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was deeper. I thought that Remy was like intentionally thinking about his sister that didn't exist to fool whatever was going on,
Mm.
and that's how he knew.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fed him false information.
But
But if they could
Kirk
read his
and
mind,
Spock-
wouldn't they know that it was false information?
Oh, I don't know.
And they're masters of gravity, so they could just make that
that's
stuff
true,
fall
gravity.
right down to the ground.
Well,
Like,
We're defying
what does
gravity
that
everywhere.
mean? Masters of gravity. What I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, they mastered gravity like we mastered horses. So one day they just hopped on gravity and fell down and said, "I know what this means. I can master it." And they just rode gravity everywhere. They could only go down though.
And they found out that it was Ninja Turtles all the way down.
Well, Redgrave does say later on, he's like, I thought that they were fooling me. He's like, it turns out he really was my father, only from another Earth.
Yes.
So I think that part was his real. That was his
We
father's
didn't see
double.
them physically interact, though.
Yeah.
So they were using
true.
different tricks.
That's true.
Yeah.
But once we had fake Remy with Arturo,
Yeah.
I didn't trust anybody anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they're just all like in one small room,
Mhm.
knocked out, tied up, and
Yeah. See that at the end.
Mhm.
I was thinking that's where it was going to go.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
And
Yeah.
that museum part, was that an egg? Did Kromaggs lay eggs? What was in between the two skulls? I don't know what that was.
I don't know. I kind of missed it. It was just creepy stuff for me.
Creepy stuff.
It was
Okay.
just, I
But
saw the
what- I
brain
don't
and
understand-
like what I don't know what it was.
this is an outpost that's also some kind of museum.
Yeah.
which is also
And they
some
had
kind
a
of prison.
jade egg with
Which
two
is-
skulls looking at it.
Like, I'm so confused by this entire structure. Like, who's
I-
visiting there to look at these artifacts?
They just borrowed the set deck from Predator or something, I think.
It's just like, is this? Oh, it's our prison museum. Our museum of prison. Come visit Scenic Outpost 113, where you can torture inmates and see our great heritage.
It was like a menagerie, a cage.
Ah.
I have to, Albie. You can't keep it up for long enough. Eventually, you'll tire.
I'm just keeping the images of choking their scrawny little necks in my mind. Oh my god, damn dirty ape hands.
I just, Susan Oliver is so pretty.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the interrogations. I know you have something, Mike, about with Wade, but I will also say that you notice we never
Wade.
saw Arturo being interrogated. We didn't actually see his perspective. Find that interesting too. That I think that plays into the whole possible thing that happens with, this switcheroo. They've been building up that something is happening with Arturo, and we just never actually saw that. I found that interesting anyway. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, we only saw him alone in the cell
Yeah. Mhm.
talking to
Head
hallucination of
Rembrandt.
Remy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that. Mhm.
But I just found the interrogation of Wade, they reveal that the Kromaggs are essentially paranoid about any human army being sent to invade their dynasty. So it seems that they're projecting their fears outwards because they're the ones who are doing all the invading, right? So
Yeah.
they're
And they use disco lights for interrogation.
It was pretty
Apparently,
cool. It was that
was
was
quite
like
the
you're at the
scene.
club, and I expected a Tron cycle to come out at any moment, and she didn't even need to be strapped to that chair because gravity.
Gravity.
So
They
she
mastered
wasn't
gravity.
going anywhere.
No,
So, right.
she was able to stick to the bottom or the surface of the chair with
Right.
gravity.
Mhm.
And again,
Yep.
she pointed out what we're all thinking. Why are they interrogating them? And they're saying, "You'll never get it from me. You don't know anything. You're
Yeah.
lost."
Yeah. I know.
yeah,
She's just like, "We have no idea."
yeah.
Yeah. So this is my question, right? The Kromaggs are keep interrogating everyone. What Earth are you from, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even if they knew which Earth they were from, would they have the same names and scale or designation of
Right.
No,
an Earth
That's
that the Kromagg
that's
could
what-
use?
always annoyed me about DCU.
Makes no sense.
It's like we're Earth 1
Right.
and you're Earth 2.
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, we're Earth 2. Only ever once did I see Wells, the Wells from Earth 2, just turn around to them and say, you realize I'm from Earth 1, right?
Right. Everybody's from Earth 1.
Right.
It's all their Earth, and they think they're the center of the multiverse.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, what's the designation in your Earth? I don't know. We're Alpha Beta Ceti Earth 75. Does that help? Go invade that one. It turns out we really are Alpha Beta Ceti Earth.
Give them a number, right?
Holy
72?
crap, what are the odds?
Yeah. Just give them a number. 133.
But and then we mentioned you kind of brought it up before that this is a thought that entered my head again when Arturo is talking about he's worried that they might backtrack their journey. So like, are they actually starting to invade the previous worlds they visited after this? Like, are they trying to backtrack the journey? So yeah, like what happens to French world? Do they go back to this and to say, yeah, we were already here, let's invade it?
If Arturo had his way, sure.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, he didn't really care if they did that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but I wonder, are any of the worlds that we've seen on the previous episodes safe? Like, because we never really.
Well, you eliminate the French, you eliminate the women, you eliminate the dirty hippies. I mean, it's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
Tell you.
Yeah. And then Mary is talking to Quinn, mentions that they're going to take him back to the home world to start stage 2 of interrogation. And this is interesting because later on in the series, the Kromaggs are trying to find their home world because they were exiled. This is where we get into the weird Nazi stuff where the whole Quinn and Colin plot, and they're separated, and the whole Star Wars shit or whatever it is.
I always wondered where I saw the alien from the season 3 finale, season 4 premiere of Enterprise, the Nazi alien, and that I was thinking of Kromaggs the entire time. Thank you, Damon, for connecting that in my head.
That's why I popped for that episode. I was like, Kromaggs! Crossover! But I was let down. They weren't Kromaggs. They were as Kromagg as you can get.
Yes. I don't think that's why you were let down, Albie.
When they finally get out of their seat, or, like you said, Mary gives Quinn the key to get out of their prison cell, and then they try to see who their spooky prisoner who's been chatting to them has been, and it's poor Conrad Benish with no eyes.
Yeah.
So he was right about them wanting to gobble eyeballs. So. And
this is his last appearance on the show.
His last appearance.
After we saw him a few times in season 1, and so the story is that this was Tracy Tormé's way of kind of sticking it to Fox, because they did not want him to use Jason Gaffney because there was some similarity with another show that was on. They didn't like the idea behind Benish, and he was like this stoner or whatever. I don't know what it was, but he was like good friends with Tracy Tormé. So, and that's why he's credited as the prisoner, because he said if Fox had known it was Benish, they wouldn't have let him do it. So this was like his Easter egg for the Sliders fans. It's like, you guys should recognize him. And we did.
Yeah.
Too much micromanaging. They need to let the artist art.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to remember Benish from my time watching the show.
I'd
he
like
was
to think
like a recurring character that they ran into on
3
different
episodes
worlds.
of season 1. Yeah.
Gotcha.
He was like one of Quinn's classmates that was super smart. And he was the one that wanted to take over the world with an atomic bomb, fat boy.
In Last Days. Yeah.
Last Days.
Yeah, you're jogging my memory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was like the go-to when they needed somebody smart that wasn't Quinn.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Quinn took him out on a rowboat and beat him to death with a paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Exactly.
I don't know why Talented Mr. Ripley just came into my head, but it did. Spoilers for Talented Mr. Ripley.
All right, we're getting up to the final part here. Mike, you got the...
So, of course, I get that they were desperate to escape, and Quinn seems to have bought into Mary's innocent act, but wouldn't they be suspicious of her intentions when she just all of a sudden has a way for them to get back to West Versailles? She just opens the tunnel and says, go. It goes back to where you were, 83 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think Arturo says
Yeah, and they have to be on that Earth because that's where, I guess their timer is configured to wherever they're supposed to be, and they were taken out of their normal sliding matrix, I guess, because that's how it works. That's how they.
So the wormhole would open whether they were on that Earth or not.
If they weren't on
you
that
have to activate
Earth,
the timer.
Yeah, if they weren't
For the wormhole to open.
So
I don't know what would happen if they opened it.
I guess it wouldn't.
Earth 113.
I think it wouldn't have opened. I think that's the point. Is because they're not where they're supposed to be when it opens. They have to be on a specific Earth in order to get to the next one. So
they have to be in the right dimension.
Okay, so I thought that they used their timer to get back to Frenchie Earth, but
no,
she sent them back with their timer.
Yes,
gotcha. So they slid in through a red portal.
Yeah,
and left through a blue portal.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and we didn't see it, did we?
No.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I didn't know she was double crossing him. I thought she was really helping him, and I fell for the whole death scene.
Yeah.
So I was shocked by the end.
Yeah.
I really love the very, very ending when they're sipping their rosé out on the patio, and Arturo says, "But what of Lazarus?" I have to bring it back to Star Trek eventually.
But again, that portal was open for longer than 60 seconds. That wasn't.
Yeah.
Unless the Kromagg portal doesn't matter. Maybe I don't know.
No. Yeah. They're in Kromagg time units.
I guess. Yeah.
Whatever the Kromagg says later. Something about time units.
Yeah.
If the Kromaggs are masters of sliding, maybe they can link the portal to specific biosigns so that if you're still there, it will only close behind you once you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Perhaps, yeah.
Again, headcanon.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
The Kromaggs seem very bright for how they look.
Yeah.
How dare you? You're so racist.
It's always a weird thing in sci-fi.
How do they look, Albie? How do they look?
Like apes, like damn dirty apes.
They didn't look like apes to me at all.
No,
they look like ghouls. They look like skeleton heads.
Yeah. They had no lips. Like their lips were pulled back. All you could see was teeth, and
they look like Matt Frewer before makeup.
I don't know.
I love you, Matt Frewer. Don't at me, Matt Frewer.
They look like Cro-Magnons a little bit, but because they had the brow, and you wouldn't know the soft tissue. I don't think we have any examples of Cro-Magnon soft tissue left, but we have skulls, and we have some of their DNA in our DNA, so I don't think it'd be that different. But it's possible that like they evolved back in the apes, maybe. I don't know. I'm confused. Were they supposed to be Cro-Magnons, or they just call them Kromaggs?
I mean, why else would they call them Kromaggs?
Well, Arturo theorized. He came up with a theory about the.
No, but it was spray painted on a billboard when they left into Invasion World.
Yeah.
Completely
Killer apes is that different than
the K and the double G's.
Yeah. Didn't one of them have like a little, like a tiny little ponytail going in the back or something?
The two soldiers.
I thought that was Roger Daltrey in that other episode.
Yeah, they looked like they had kind of just Mohawk mullets, if you want to call it that. Like,
it was weird, but it definitely wasn't the Nazis from Enterprise like I was expecting.
I remember my days with my Mohawk mullet.
Yeah,
was I ever that young?
That was your taxi driver face.
All right.
So they do exit Mary's wormhole, and Arturo lands on the bicycling bakery.
Sorry, just it seemed appropriate for that.
But now apparently Arturo and the baker are good friends.
They kissed together.
Arturo even gets a kiss on each cheek.
Yep. Yeah. And he says, well, this is bearable.
It's this ghost man that keeps falling out of the sky. I think they like it on his good side.
Yeah, he's wishing for someone to love him, and somebody falls out of the sky and kisses him.
I mean, these guys just fall out of the sky in the middle of like crowds, and nobody remarks.
Yeah, they all seem unfazed.
They seem pretty nonplussed about it.
It happened twice.
Right.
I wonder if that's in John Rhys Davies' contract that he has to kiss somebody in each episode. Even if he has to chase after a baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. No baby.
My favorite part of the episode was when they thought the Kromaggs were chasing them, but then Quinn and Arturo looked at all the math, and they looked up at each other and said, "They're digging in the wrong place."
Bad dates.
So yeah, so
You eat them.
this is, I guess, where we wrap up the episode. They flash back to the Kromaggs
Cliffhanger.
rewarding Mary. Apparently, somebody has a homing device.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's implanted with a homing device.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Wade because she was in that chair for a long time.
Yeah, I wonder if it was Quinn because he spent time with Mary, and apparently she's the one who.
Ooh. Maybe that's
I
why
was-
his watch is broken, because they jammed a homing beacon in it.
I was thinking Arturo because we don't see his interrogation.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Right.
Yeah.
But isn't he
So we
fake
all had different
Arturo?
thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he fake Arturo at this point?
Not yet. Not
No.
until the next
So-
episode.
So this is what's in my notes. This is where like I was actually asking questions in the groups, like maybe we should do this after or not, because the original intention, I think, was that it was supposed to be Arturo, because
Arturo
Tracy-
Prime.
I don't know if it was Arturo Prime or if it's supposed to be.
.com, is that owned? You got to get
I
that.
don't know, because this. I mean, it's more of a discussion for post-traumatic sled syndrome. But Tracy Tormé, his idea was that he was in the line of thinking that it was the wrong Arturo that slid, and his way of bringing Arturo back would have involved this with the tracking device or something. But I don't know what that means. If it's I don't know which, because this was also supposed to be the season finale, even though it wasn't. Even in air date order, it was not the season finale.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on with Fox in the 90s
Yeah, indeed.
and early 2000s?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, it's more of a discussion for the next one, because we'll have like another special guest on there who might know a little bit more about this stuff. So I'm not going to say who that is. You know, we're saying it at the end. We got Eric, our friend Eric Dreiling on, but we got somebody else who's joining us for that.
Ooh.
So
Cool.
who might have a little more information about that. The only other thing I was going to say was, well, actually two things. This is a very similar ending to Conspiracy. With there's a homing thing that goes off when they leave. So,
Although their homing thing sounds like a squealing pig.
right.
and banjo music.
Yeah. And the side note, this is my side note, is I remember watching this the first time. There was no score during the whole scene where they're talking to Mary. Which I think actually works better for this.
Oh.
But I don't know why. It's like you watch the DVDs or it's on streaming. It's that same score or whatever. Like I think when they were when they were tracking them on the camera or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But I think it works better without it. I don't know. It's just a thing. I don't know why they added it afterwards. But
maybe it was intended to be there and it got left out in post production.
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
Are there many different versions? And I had a question. What was Sliders filmed, or was it like, did they use video cameras? Because I noticed like
Film.
part 1 and 2, the pilot, much higher quality than the rest of the episodes that I watch after.
I don't know. I feel like it was filmed, but maybe just because it was the pilot and it was like different.
Maybe.
It might have been a different production thing, because then they moved to like Vancouver or whatever. I don't know if I don't remember if the pilot was in
The pilot
Vancouver.
was filmed in
It
Vancouver
was?
with some scenes in San Francisco. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
All right. Well, that's the end of my notes. I know you had one last thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, just poor Mary. Like, I know she tricked them and all, but she only gets 1 hour in her garden as a reward, and then she has to go back to her cage.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah. With a little single tear trickling down her eye.
Yeah, you can tell she's got some remorse about what she's done.
Yeah. Well, that's what I got. The only other thing, I think this would be a discussion for another time, but in the comics, this is the first issue of the comics.
Oh wow!
So this was it's kind of like a slide and tell thing, but in this they meet a race of beings called the Zircurvians, who are very similar to the Kromagg. This was before Invasion came out.
Hmm.
It was supposed to be concepts that Tracy Tormé wanted to do but couldn't do, and then he got the okay to do Invasion. So they're a little bit different in this, but they're like actually two-dimensional beings who can be flat, and then they can enter the third dimension. So it's an interesting idea. They couldn't really do that on TV, but it's like the same story beats. Like they're captured and they can slide at will, and so it's like like I said, maybe we'll do that more of a discussion for like an actual bonus episode or something, because we are in the 30th anniversary now. So
Happy anniversary!
Yeah. We'll do a special one for that. Anyway, that's what I got. Anything else you guys want to chime in with any deep dives?
Yeah, I just feel like there's so much that I don't remember about Sliders, and I feel like if I ask questions about obvious plot points that most Slider fans know, I'm just going to be rehashing stuff that you guys probably discussed quite a bit. So, I mean, I forgot all about the alternate Arturo thing. I think I had heard about it again a couple of years ago, and it promptly went out of my head. But it almost makes me want to go back and try to follow the show again to see some of the seeds that they tried to plant. The only thing I can't help but think, Albie, we're going to have to do this eventually in 17 years when we get to it, when we discover that Julian is actually a changeling at some point.
Yeah.
And when do we go back?
Oh yeah.
When do we go back, and how long has he been a changeling? Spoilers. But and so is he acting the way a changeling would?
I'm intentionally putting that out of my head, so I have to do it twice. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm not sure which episode.
But I'm thinking, what I'm thinking from Damon, what you're saying, and Mike, what you're saying is just like these are intriguing seeds that they drop, but they never bring anything to fruition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sliders.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, did Tracy stay with the show the entire time, or did he just eventually jump ship when it went to Sci-Fi 2?
It was before that. So it was like, I think either early on or midway through season 3, he like really wasn't involved anymore.
Yeah.
He wrote like one more episode, which is like one of the best episodes of the whole series, and then like he didn't write any after that. And it was also because his father, Mel Tormé, was also falling ill at that time, so it was a terrible time in his life, and he's like, I'm done with this. It was kind of out of his hands, and like he didn't even bring the Kromaggs back, even though he had ideas to use the Kromaggs. And I think some of his ideas to actually do a soft reboot of the show were kind of similar to stuff that I came up with, and I never knew this at the time, but he was going to kind of use them to kind of say that they, I think, manipulated their perception of their journey, which is why things started getting weird.
Interesting. Okay.
I think Tracy Tormé was doing something similar.
Okay, so if they wanted to bring back the core 4,
yes,
and get rid of Kari,
that would have been awesome.
It was all a dream.
Something like that. I know it's a trope, but like I don't know.
Was there ever a book written about all like what happened, the debacle behind the scenes to make everything horrible?
There's just a lot of stuff.
Because it started off so strong.
I know. It's all.
Did it?
I know there's
for me, rewatching it today, I enjoyed it more than I did originally. So
if only there was some kind of book.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could have.
By
like
Mike
that.
Bloxham.
Yeah. I knew a guy who would have been really good at putting something like that together.
Yeah. Me and him have talked about that too. Yeah. This might as well be as good a time as any to say if you guys want to say that we've been kind of doing a little. We're going to dedicate this not only to Tracy Tormé, but also to Matt. If you guys want to talk about Matt, you're more qualified to talk about him.
Oh, yeah. Well, Matt was a dear friend of ours who was one of the hosts of the Quantum Leap podcast. He died unexpectedly 2 Christmases ago on Christmas Day. And he was the go-to guy for Quantum Leap. He wrote a series of books called Beyond the Mirror Image that chronicled everything you could ever want to think about Quantum Leap. And he got them done through Kickstarter. When it went to Kickstarter, he got his goal filled like immediately. People wanted the book so badly. He put out a second edition after we started doing the Quantum Leap podcast together. and that was wildly successful. And based on that, he was putting out 2 more editions. He did a second volume, so it's second edition, volume 2. He covered the first season of the continuation series. Yeah. So it was the revival series, part 2, and he was busy at work putting together a second edition of volume 2 because the second season had been airing before he passed. So he was doing that, and then he did a third one that was going to be about what was it, Albie? I remember
the ephemera
cover. Yeah, it was like all ephemera that he couldn't fit anywhere else.
The novels and the comics and stuff. Yeah,
the novels, the comics, that stuff. Yeah. And my greatest regret was that he always wanted to interview me about my book Foreknowledge. And I always said to him, well, let's just wait until we do it on the show. We'll do it on the show. We'll do it on the show. And, we never got to it on the show because we were about 3 books away when he passed. So I wish I could have spoken to him about that. But so I think of Matt every day. I still miss him. And that's honestly why I had to step away from the QLP. It still hurts. It's funny though, because I can't help but think of Allison now. Albie, Allison, and I have a group chat on Discord. Allison was the other host of the Quantum Leap podcast after we took it over. And Albie was talking about how Sliders was eerily prescient about things like, I don't know, dictatorships and
Russia taking over the United States.
Russia taking over the United States, and like a plague that's killing everybody, like
plague,
plague.
People coughing in a cafe, and you're just
Allison wrote in response, and it was uncanny how they called the Kromagg invasion. So I mean, we're still very much together. We're still jiving with each other. It's just we just haven't done QLP in a while. We did a couple of things on the YouTube channel to honor Matt's memory and to try to help raise money for his family. So you can see all of that on Quantum Leap Podcast, where we actually read my book Foreknowledge in 4 different parts, and you guys were a part of that.
We were part of it.
You guys were a part of that.
Yeah.
That'll be
So you can see that there, and you can still, I believe that the Kickstarter or
GoFundMe.
The GoFundMe for his family is still active. So there is a QR code on all that stuff. You take the picture and go
at
there.
the end of every Trek exploration too. The QR code comes up.
We're
going to put it up here too.
somewhere. So
Cool.
Yeah. So so I mean, so that's Matt, and I couldn't think of anybody better to do his Sliders, but I think Matt would have actually gone clinically insane trying to reconcile all of the continuity errors, because that's what he was about. Like he had to figure out how it all fit together. He was worse than I was when it came to that stuff.
He already probably had working theories, I'm sure, and he probably would have been on 2 or 3 of these episodes already.
That's what I'm saying. He definitely, we had talked about it. Like even before we started this, like it was. I don't know. Before we even did the first episode, I was like, "Do you want to do it?" He's like, "I'd love to do some episodes of it." We would have had to figure out the logistics because UK time, and this is like we're already, all of us are doing this, and it's almost midnight. But
Him and I talked a little bit here and there about Sliders because I think it's one of those things where Sliders and Quantum Leap kind of get grouped into like the same genre feel or something, just because leaping and sliding, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why Sliders appealed to me so greatly when it came on, because it had so many similarities to leaping. Yeah. So again, that endless possibility. And I mean, the way we met Matt was the first edition of Beyond the Mirror Image came out, and I interviewed him for the Quantum Leap podcast. And when Albie asked me to sort of take the reins a little bit, I already knew that I wanted Allison, because Allison had found the lost footage of the ending.
Right.
So we were doing a special. I did a special with Allison. I knew that we jived on mic. And when Albie said, "Do you guys want to just do the show?" I thought, we need a third. And I immediately, for some reason, I just said, Matt. We got to get Matt. Even though I'd only spoken to him once for that interview, I just knew that he would bring something that we needed, and it just turned out to be magic. So I can't stress enough what an amazing individual he was and how much I miss him. Like I said, I think of him every day. Yeah. Every day. So this is for you, Matt.
Yeah. This is for you, Matt. Yeah. All right.
And you too, Tracy Tormé.
Yes,
wherever you may be.
Tracy Tormé.
Yeah. All right.
Harry Stone's favorite artist's son. Right?
Mel Tormé is terrible.
Yeah, I was into him for a little while because I was a kid magician.
I listen to swing music and like crooning music, and when he comes on, I'm like, oh my god.
James Darren,
All right,
I enjoy
don't
better.
watch Great.
I have to
Don't
admit.
watch Great Fellas then, because that's where Mel Torme comes on and he sings. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think he's actually singing, I think he's actually singing country music in it though.
I got to hear that.
That's probably better. He's a member of the Soggy Bottom Boys, right?
Yep. Oh, brother, where art thou? Yep.
All right, Mike. I think
And we brought it full circle.
all right, Mike. I think you got it. Like, well, you kind of mentioned one goof already, but you got a goof. So
Yeah, I got a couple more goofs.
Mhm.
So when that first manta ship appears at the amusement park, the wind only seems to blow papers around when the sliders are in view. Otherwise, everything is perfectly still when it's just the manta kind of ominously floating toward them.
that's
so
true. Yeah.
a bit of a
They spent all the money on the Manta effect and couldn't put wind in, I guess.
apparently yes.
Man, those effects when they run them, they're like third generation copies, and it goes like from 480 to like 140. Bad. It's just bad.
I think that was the only one aside from the watch.
The watch.
that, that we got our memorable lines
Yeah,
here. So Remy again is being prepared. Ah, yes, sirree. Rembrandt Brown sliding pads, a must for the serious slider.
Yeah.
That was that.
He's going to make a lot of money when he gets back.
I know.
'cause apparently everybody's going to slide. That's going to be a new industry
You
sliding.
know who'd be a
Right,
good
and
market?
nobody would think to wear elbow pads. He invented elbow pads, apparently.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think the Kromaggs would be his first market.
Mhm.
And then when they're on the ship and Quinn is aghast at finding the body of the dead Kromagg, Arturo says, "This is an invading soldier, don't forget, not a social worker."
Right.
It's like,
I thought that was a cool line.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's more practical.
Yes.
More logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it reminds us that Quinn has always had trouble with, even accidentally killing people. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
me too. It makes him more human.
yeah,
It makes him
yeah.
more relatable, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that because too many times on TV shows, because of drama,
Yeah.
somebody winds up dying, and the next week the guy who did it doesn't seem to be affected.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like, if I killed somebody, I think it would haunt me for the rest of my days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Even inadvertently.
Right.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't
No.
be the same guy after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not at all.
And then I like what Arturo is telling Wade when she's like, every Earth has to be warned. And he's like, hold on a minute, Paul Revere. And it's like, we can't just go up to every, what did he say, gendarme? What is that?
Gendarme,
Gendarme.
which is like
Gendarme.
a French cop.
Police officer, right?
Yeah, it's the French police when they're not playing accordions.
Oh, okay.
They're beating people with baguettes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it says, we can't just walk up to them and say, excuse me, very shortly, an army of killer apes will be descending in your vichyssoise.
Well,
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, shortly after that scene, Remy's ogling and saying he'd love to know what
What the French women
are thinking. Or
yeah.
well, Wade just basically says maybe it's a good thing you don't know what women are thinking.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I gotta say that was a great shot
Yes.
of that random French woman. She's definitely a contender for my crush of the episode.
Oh, okay.
And she was on the screen for 6 seconds. So. But man, the cameraman knew what he was doing.
Yeah, then Arturo goes on his rant about the watch. He's like, that timepiece was probably worth more than the gross national product of Paraguay. And then he's like, nasty French planet filled with shifty, backstabbing, croissant sipping nitwits.
Has there always been a rivalry between France and England?
Yes,
See, I don't keep up.
Yes, Elby.
there
Yes.
is. There is a rivalry. Yes, I think that. What was it? I was watching a PBS show called Chef with Lenny Henry, and he was in a French cooking competition, and he insisted on using English wine. And that was like the whole episode was this whole divide between the English and the French. And they called him roast beef. They call us roast beef. We call them limeys. Apparently the French call them roast beef. I don't know.
I guess it's like different states have rivalries because they're so small countries and so close together over there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The last one I had was this. This isn't a funny line, but just what do you want to call it? A sci-fi technical one where when during the inner cheapers. What do you call it? Interrogation.
The interrogation. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try that again. During the interrogation, it sounds like the voice of Mary melded with, I don't know, someone else.
A random Kromagg, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But she asks, what are the galactic interdimensional coordinates of your home Earth?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
weird.
That's what you need to know. If you ever slide, memorize your galactic interdimensional coordinates.
Yep.
It was weird.
Yeah.
There was a lot of ADR in this episode, I noticed. Like, especially when they first, beginning of the episode, when they're in that parking lot where they landed with the elbow pads.
Oh, yeah,
and then in the cell, they kept adding things, like when nobody was talking on screen.
Yeah.
I guess to make things more clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot with Quinn.
Yeah.
And Oturo, when his back was to the
Yes.
camera. I don't know if they had different mics back then. They had mostly the boom mics, and I guess they couldn't really get the audio. Now, a lot of times in television shows, they wear hidden mics that are wireless.
Yeah. So the only other thing I would say is also, because Tracy, like I said before, Tracy Tormé wanted to do this episode for a while. I think almost since the beginning, and he kept butting heads with Fox all the time about stuff, and then I think he finally had to go to like a higher up and said, well, this is kind of like what I want to do, because they didn't even want to resolve that cliffhanger from season 1. They just they said, it was like, oh, nobody's going to care about any of this stuff. And like, yes, people care. And then they finally let him do it, and apparently it did like really well. I think the episode was either won an Emmy or nominated for an Emmy. I don't
really.
Wow.
I should have looked it up.
This one?
Yeah. Maybe for the I don't.
Was there nothing else on TV that year?
I think it has something to do with the. I should have looked this up before.
With the fantastic makeup?
I don't know.
It won the best reinterpretation of The Wizard of Oz.
With the spectacular writing? Was it that? What was it? I mean, an Emmy?
A house landed on a Kromagg, and then Quinn was blamed for it.
I'm sure somebody will.
The four of them had to travel to make it all right.
I'm sure somebody will say in the comments what it actually was nominated for, or won something.
There's a ruby red bracelet.
A ruby red sphincter of a slide tube.
Exactly.
But anyway, it was like, I think even John Rhys Davies, it's like one of his favorite episodes. It was, and they said this is the kind of show we should be doing more of. And apparently they went back to the network or something, and whoever was in charge was like, no, this is exactly the type of show we shouldn't be doing. We should be doing more like action type stuff or whatever.
Or Dinosaur Planet.
Yeah, something like that. And Tracy Tormé knew at that point we were never going to see eye to eye, because you guys want different things than what we can give you. So I think this was kind of signaling, like, let's just dumb it down for the audience.
Yet it went on for 3 more seasons, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's when Sci-Fi was also looking for original content.
Yeah.
So let's get this. We know we have a fan base, even though it's a small fan base. We don't need a big one.
Right.
And they couldn't manage to get the Quantum Leap reboot off the air. So at the time, anyway.
Right.
And so it was just like off the air, off the ground. That's what I should have said.
Off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, they mastered
It was
was
off the air, because they couldn't get it off the ground because there was too much Kromagg gravity. That's it. The Kromaggs are to blame for us not seeing a bold leap forward. Damn you, Kromagg.
Damn it. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Yeah.
I was sad when I heard Tracy Tormé died, because I was always hoped that they would do something more with Sliders.
Yeah.
And like, I was sad that we lost him, and then like the same day I was like, oh, no more Sliders ever.
Yeah.
I always held that hope.
No. There may be. We don't know, but because there has been that talk of a possible reboot, but Jerry O'Connell's been throwing it out there. I don't know if it's ever. As with Quantum Leap,
Why did he leave, and why didn't he come back?
Yeah.
And something about his brother. I don't know.
Didn't he merge into Mallory at the end?
Yeah.
Like, didn't they just like turn into an amalgam of 2 people or something?
Yep.
That's when I threw my remote.
Yeah.
But I still watched it. But I was hate watching it, anger watching it, and then I would be, titillated by Kari Wurr. So it all balanced.
I mean, the great thing was I could watch Kari Wurr on Sliders at 8:00 and then watch Kari Wurr on Cinemax at 12:30.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Skinemax.
We had very similar lifestyles back then.
So,
Back then, still.
I mean, to me, she was a casting coup.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's the only reason I hung in there.
Mm-hmm.
It really was.
Yeah.
well, it wasn't Cleavant's amazing. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Cleavant Derricks.
Mhm.
Wasn't
Yeah, he's got an amazing voice.
wasn't that his
great
great
actor,
acting
great character.
didn't keep you wrapped?
He was the most real for me, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. Just they
He
always
stuck it
were. It
out
was
to the
almost
end.
like a parody of himself. It was just always so weird.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sabrina Lloyd. I'm still traumatized over that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well,
She was Esri before Esri was Esri.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you ever have her on the show, let me work the board at least, or come on or something.
Work the board. Is that what they're calling it now? So, Damon, just because I don't want to forget, I do have a slide and tell. You already kind of
Yes.
showed yours, but
Slide
this
and
is
tell.
the only slider stuff.
Wow.
So it's the book that you showed already, but I love, like, on the Quantum Leap books, they say an all-new original novel based on the hit TV series. On this one, it just says based on the Fox TV series. We can't. And even on the bottom, based on the Universal television series.
Right.
Nothing about it being a hit or amazing, but when I read this, the author is Brad Lineweaver, and I was looking to do more. At that point, I'd already sold my Quantum Leap book. And I saw Sliders. I said, well, it's perfect. I know the show. I could maybe think of something to do. And I wrote the author to ask him who was the editor and stuff like that. I do believe that he got back to me.
Oh,
but he was unsure himself whether they were going to pick up the franchise and do any other books.
Right.
I will say this. When I saw the first episode, I didn't think it was very good. But this is an excellent adaptation of that episode because I think that they give it a logical consistency and give a good reason for everything we see on screen.
okay.
And it surprised me how much I enjoyed this because this is just an adaptation of the pilot.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it surprised me how much I enjoyed reading this and how it actually made the pilot seem better to me.
Okay.
So good on you, Brad.
See, I didn't
And, thank you for getting back to me about this many years ago. I think back to the one or two scenes I wrote in my Sliders novel. They were terrible.
What was the elevator pitch?
Terrible. I don't
Tell us
even.
what the
I don't even
world was.
remember what the elevator pitch was. I probably have it over in my archive box over there somewhere. But yeah,
I'll vamp if you want to go look at it for it.
I honestly, I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for if you guys are ever gracious enough to have us on again.
Oh,
Maybe I'll see what I can dig out. For all I know, it's on like a 3x5 floppy somewhere, and I'll never be able to access it again.
Send it to me. I'll send it to you.
So, yeah,
I have all the technology.
So the Sliders novel that might have been, but if we only got one, at least we got a good one. And I wish like now I'm curious. Like, are the comic books better? Are they more?
all right. Well, so that's basically like my slide and tell is this. There's like I think 10 issues of these. So they basically
Is it like the Innovation Quantum Leap comics?
So this comic book company. They were going to do the next Quantum Leap comics too after the Innovation ones ended. So they had the license to do Quantum Leap, and it's even on Al's place. The scans that he has, I sent those to Brian. They actually had solicited the 3-issue miniseries that they were going to do for Quantum Leap, and then there was like a special. But I think this company also went out, like they went defunct before they could do more, because they were actually going to also do crossovers between Quantum Leap and Sliders, which I think Matt had information on that, but that he was going to have for Volume 3, but we don't know what those entailed. But yeah, there was like this was supposed to be, so like I think it was released right before season 2, like right around the time that it was coming back. And one of the things that I remember they talked about was that they were going to have some story threads that were going to kind of tie back into the show. And what is going on in this is some of that, what we've been talking about, Mike, with that there seems to be like dissension in the ranks, like the story arc that like some of them may betray one of them. And so this kind of ties into that whole storyline. So I don't know where they're supposed to fit continuity wise. I guess like season 2. And there's like,
how many did they produce?
So there's the second issue. So this was like one story that introduced that race. and then they're called the Zircurvians, and then they did something called Ultimatum, which was 2 issues.
That one I have.
Yeah, that's the first one. The second one, some of these,
Or maybe that one.
yeah,
Was there different covers, or they only have one cover each?
only one cover each. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have about 3 or 5 of
and
them. I think.
don't remember exactly what they all, because it's been so long since I read these. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think it was 30 years since I read the novelization, so that's why I was like, I couldn't tell you how good it was.
Almost time to read again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was like a 3-issue series that it was called The Darkest Hour. Which I think they kind of like, I don't have to, I don't know. I'll show all of them.
Oh, that's funny.
lot of-
So
yeah.
now what I'm
That one
going to
I
do,
have.
that's cool.
yeah.
I go to my local comic book shops. We have several of them
Mhm.
where I live, and I'm always getting Alf's for Albie. Albie, I have a package to send you. They're probably all
Send some
duplicates,
Slider
but-
comics too.
Well, I'm going to start looking for the Sliders ones because you'd be
Yeah,
surprised
buy 2 of each.
how many Alfs I've found. And I never even occurred to me to look for Sliders stuff,
Yeah.
but you never know. Finding all the Quantum Leap comics was a quest that I went on one day. I went to every shop that I could find in the rain, just driving around endlessly around Long Island. And I finally went into one, and I said to the guy, "You got any Quantum Leap comics?" He said, "Wait a minute." He comes back. He's got the entire run.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "How much?" And he said, 2 for $5. I was just like, "I'll take them all, please."
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So
That's awesome.
But still, to this day, I look for Quantum Leap comics everywhere I go, and I snatch them up. So I have a lot of doubles of those too. So now Sliders is going to go on my when I want to prowl the comic book shop list.
yeah. Yeah. And they did.
Cool. I always
They
go
did 3
dollar
more
comic.
specials after that. Like, so these were just like one-offs. Like this one was written by
That one I
this one
don't
was
have.
written by Jerry O'Connell. It was something he was going to do. I think it developed.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That's cool.
Called Narcotica, something about legalizing drugs.
Captain Ransom himself.
Yeah.
Blood and Splendor, and then this other one this is the last one. So
That one I think
Yeah,
I have.
mhm. Apparently they go up in space. I have to read these
Yeah.
again, but anyway, that's
Sliders in space.
yeah. And the last thing I have is you mentioned Brad. What Lina Weaver?
Lina Weaver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the guidebook that came out, but it's incomplete.
Oh wow.
It's only like the first 3 seasons, and it's like even the 3rd season's kind of incomplete because I guess at the time.
Did he self-publish that, or was that come out from?
What is this?
It's just funny to me that they used the same exact shot on both covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It just says TV Books. Something New York based. You can see it.
So it's damn New
I
Yorkers.
didn't know
you
that
can never
existed.
trust them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Books
Anyway.
on TV.
Yeah,
TV
anyway.
on books.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this? I'm so stupid. This is Berkeley Boulevard. Berkeley Boulevard was the indicia for Quantum Leap.
Right. Mhm.
So I knew the editor. Why am I writing Brad?
Yeah, you could have totally had
Maybe
it.
I'm misremembering.
I do that all the time.
I don't know. So
All right.
maybe I'm Miss October. I don't know.
Oh, I'd vote for you.
All right. You got
So
something else?
you want my slide and seek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slip and slide.
You
Yeah.
are a clever
This is more of a
bastard.
truck exploration thing where and a Quantum Leap podcast thing where they do their Leap and Tell and
Is it?
Trek and Tell.
Trek and Tell, we
Yeah.
call it.
Mhm. So
So what was the hippie episode that I did with you guys?
Summer of Love.
Summer of Love. Yeah.
Summer of Love. After Summer of Love, you had told me this existed, and I ordered it that night. I hadn't opened it, the cellophane, Mr. Cellophane, until yesterday when I popped in the pilot again because I figured I'll watch it all the way through. I tried to get it done, didn't get it done.
Wow.
But I unwrapped it, and then I was like, how the hell do I open this thing, right? Because I didn't want to rip it. It's got all 4 sides. Nothing slides out. So,
That's
like,
That is
ironic.
ironic
Had it-
for sliders.
Yeah.
Huh?
Mill Creek Entertainment. The packaging is kind of weird on their stuff.
super weird.
Yeah.
And I opened it, and I was like, what the hell is this? I don't know if you guys go into, like, Dollar General, but, like, used DVDs they sell in these, like, cardboard sleeves.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, a bunch of cardboard sleeves. And then, like, there's a disc on each side. And I don't know if they're in order or what, but I was like, what the hell did I buy? Why?
Did Mill Creek?
Why?
Is this Blu-ray or is this?
No, this is DVD. I don't think Blu-ray's out. Is it, Damon?
No. Yeah, they haven't had a Blu-ray.
I only asked because Mill Creek was the one that did the Quantum Leap Blu-rays for the first time.
They did such a good job on Quantum Leap. They went back to the film, and except for some special effects, which they didn't redo, so they up-res. It looks beautiful. This does not look beautiful. This looks like it's just blurry. I think they, whatever videotape they had, maybe for production, what was that, Super VHS or something? I think that's what these are. I don't know.
They had just standard VHS on ELP. So you could fit 6 episodes per tape. They want to save some money.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
It's that bad. It really is. It's not SLP. It's EP. And it's like video CD quality almost. But once you're watching it, you get into the story. It doesn't matter. It is what it is.
Yeah,
but I do have
it looked okay on Peacock.
Yeah, I should check it out and see if it's any better or different. Still paying for Peacock. Don't know why. I have the other.
Oh, I know why. My wife likes Below Decks.
Oh, there you go. Mine too.
There we go.
This is an alternate reality. So I have a wife in this reality. I'm getting in trouble for podcasting tonight.
Keep sliding.
Yep. But I have the other DVD set that came out originally. I think the first 3 seasons. I want to say. What was it?
This is the first
those. I have those. Those were beautifully
that's a
packaged.
nice package.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's what she said.
Damon's got a nice package.
Oh,
we all know that.
Yeah, they got less.
But I have those.
Yeah, there was like.
Was it 2 seasons or 3 seasons they put out? Not all of them,
they
though,
put
right?
all of them out, yeah.
Did they?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't have the final
one?
season in that cool packaging.
4th one. And, season 5, it took them a while, but they did release it.
Yeah, I don't have 5. I think I have 1 through 4, and I burned 5. Because I couldn't find it. I didn't know they put it out, so it must have been after I gave up.
A few years later, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But are those better quality? I don't know, because these are, what, 5 episodes per disc or something?
They seem okay. I mean, they seem okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but I have those. I have the book, and I have the comics, but I can't find anything because I marked every single box I moved in pot lids. And I haven't unpacked half of them.
Okay.
But one day, I'll bring more.
All right, we do an episode.
But thanks for recommending this.
Oh,
David.
yeah, no problem, yeah.
I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, I'm glad, yeah. All right, another thing you guys do is episode crush. You guys got an episode crush?
Me and Chris might have the same one. I'll let him go first.
Mary.
Do I know your type or what?
Mary, Mary, where you go to?
Mary, Mary.
100% Mary. I thought that she was a strikingly beautiful woman.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. My episode crush, like I said, almost that French woman, that random French woman. And then I thought Mary, but then I got to go with one of the loves of my life early on, Wade Wells.
Yeah.
Sabrina Lloyd.
Yeah.
I think my favorite episode I watched so far in the last couple of days was it Last Days or Last Day or something
Last
like that?
Days, yeah.
Yeah.
Last Days, and when her and Quinn hook up, you know, and get romantic, man, my heart was a flutter, and I fell in love again. And I'm like, don't fall in love again; it doesn't end well. But I did.
Oh, then
I did fall in love. So I'm still crushing hard on Wade Wells.
You should have watched Obsession. Then she's in a red dress. Yeah.
Mike, who's your episode crush?
I haven't done this before.
It's that guy selling baguettes. I know it.
Oh yeah. It looks like
he'll kiss anybody.
I don't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
The accordion player.
Nope. I'm gonna have to pass this time. I didn't know we were doing that.
I wasn't prepared either. I wasn't sure either. I was like, we're just fine.
Well, thank you for bringing a little bit of trick exploration.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trick exploration.
Inviting us into your home.
Yeah. Hey, you guys need to. Yeah. If you all Sliders fans, if you're Trek fans, check them out. They got some good stuff. Got some good stuff.
We can never get on Mike and it not be 2 hours long. So we're sorry if this is an extra long episode.
That's okay.
but it's just how we do.
We're going for
Yeah,
3
we
tonight.
don't know when to
We'll see
stop.
if we can get there.
Well,
No,
if
I
LB
see if we
wanted
can
to
get
set a
there.
record, we've set it. So
yeah, we said it. Yeah. All right, we're.
I think I have the record for the longest podcast other than that 24-hour podcast.
Oh yeah.
That they did intentionally.
Well, that being said, I think we need to wrap it up. So I guess I mean my crush is kind of like you, Albie. I think we're kind of the same. Wade is really
All right.
for me is I always like Wade.
Yeah. But Mary was looking
Yeah, she
good.
was good
I
too.
gotta
Yeah,
say.
mhm.
I gotta say.
Yeah.
Do we give her a rating or are we
Yeah,
doing
so
that?
we'll do
What do
final
we do?
thoughts, and I still don't have what you guys go first, and then I'll figure out what I know what my rating is, but I don't know what the silly objects are. It's the same type of thing.
Yeah,
so.
we make them up.
Yeah,
as we
I know.
go.
Yeah.
Make them up as we go along.
All right, so I guess you
Albie,
guys,
you do your final thoughts
Yeah.
first.
Mhm.
Final thoughts first. It was a little jarring for me skipping from I think the end of season 1 to this episode because I was really falling in love again with the series, and when I watched this episode, I was kind of like, not my favorite. Probably my least favorite of the ones I watched in the last couple of days.
Mhm.
But it's still fun to see them going on adventures, and I more like the high concept ones, like what if they hadn't accidentally discovered antibiotics, you know? That's very interesting. But this is just what if we're getting chased and, gonna die, because episodes. So, not my favorite, but I'm gonna keep going with the series until I pass out tonight at least. And I'm gonna have to give it, what's the rating out of 5 or 10?
Out of 10.
Out of 10? So I'm gonna give it 6 watches more valuable than the gross national product of Paraguay.
Wow, that's something else, man.
all right, Chris.
Thank you, first of all, for having me on. This brought back a lot of memories. I haven't really thought about Sliders in any substantial way in many years, and it's just fun to revisit who I was back then when I watched it. I think if I watched it again now, I'd be a little bit more forgiving because I'm better. I'm not a 20-year-old douchebag. That's why. I'm better.
No, you're a 52-year-old douchebag.
55-year-old. I'm a 55-year-old man of the
douchebag.
world who's seasoned in understanding that art exists for itself and you have to approach art on its terms in order to appreciate it, not on what you think it should be. So I think that if I went back to Sliders, I might have a better opinion of it because I have no expectations, and I might just be a fun ride at this point. It also might drive me nuts not knowing what little continuity errors are. So I'm going to have to do a rewatch and listen to you guys discuss it at the same time. That being said, I do recall this being like a turning point in the series for me, like I said up top. And does the episode hold up? No. But it's still fun to revisit. And just for nostalgia's sake, like Albie, I'll give it 6... I'll give it 6 metric units of gravity that the Kromagg somehow mastered out of 10.
I like it.
All right, Mike, we're going up.
Yeah, sure. I don't know what else to say. Like I said, it's the first really solidly sci-fi episode of Sliders. The other episodes, like you said, have all been about their encounters with the what-if scenarios, but there isn't a whole lot of, I guess, sci-fi hardcore elements. But it is one of my more, I guess, favorite episodes of season 2. So I'm giving it 8.5 pieces of organic metal out of 10.
Yeah, I'm the highest, although I wonder if I should bring it down just a tad. I was
No, don't succumb to peer pressure. Be you.
I wasn't
That's right.
sure if I was. I'm gonna because it's still one of my favorites. So pretty much the reasons why I said before. This was something new. This was showing us what Sliders could be like a recurring threat that actually seemed like a threat before they turned them into space Nazis. But for what it was, I thought this was really good. I think I'm giving it 9.5 homing devices out of 10.
Wow.
Nice. 9.5.
Yeah.
High praise indeed.
Very good.
Like maybe a 9 or 9.5. It's still one of my favorites. So.
Is there one better than this? That's a 10
Probably
out there somewhere.
the next one, which is
Ooh.
yeah, probably. Maybe a 10.
I'm going to binge away tonight.
Or maybe about the same. I don't know. So you could say it, Mike. What our next?
Yeah. So next up in production order is post-traumatic slide syndrome, where we will once again be joined by our friend Eric Drayling and a very special guest.
Dryling.
Did I say it wrong
Yes,
again?
you said it wrong again.
I am so sorry, Eric. I read it as it looks.
I know. That's okay.
Dryling.
Yeah.
Eric Dryling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he needs to change the spelling of his name. That's all there is to it. And a very special guest to be revealed.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to reveal.
Keeping that one under wraps.
Yeah.
Is it Jerry O'Connell?
No. But it's
Corey War, isn't it?
No.
Let me work the board.
Harley O'Connell.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that next week. So I've been trying to get them on too, just like I've been trying to get you guys on. So it should be timely for the 30th anniversary. Even though at the time that this is going to be coming out, it will probably pass because it's March 22nd. So I think by the time this is, I don't think I'm getting it out. And by then, I'm packed up.
Yeah,
so.
that's fair.
I know a guy. I know.
I know. I might take him up on that.
I know a guy who owns an editing company. I'm just saying.
I might take him up on that. All right. And in the meantime, and I guess I'll say this. So we are also going to be doing this again soonish on Trek Exploration. We're going to tie this in with Conspiracy, which was also partially written by Tracy Tormé. He did the teleplay for that one, and there are some similarities. I thought there'd be more when I watched this, and I'm like, there's some, but not many. But still, it will be interesting to see, because he did this Conspiracy 8 years before this? 88, I want to say.
89 was it?
1988, I think.
88?
At the end of season 1,
End of season 2?
Yeah, end of season 1.
End of season 1.
So it would have been 88. Yeah.
So
right, 87, 88. Okay.
So I'll be curious to see when we talk about it, like if he carried over anything from that to this, because of I don't know, that it was something we came up with earlier this year. I'm like, this would be good. At the time, we were kind of lined up perfectly, and then stuff happened. But so soonish, when you guys get up to it.
What I heard Damon say was I'll be curious.
Damon, wrap up.
Yeah.
No, really, wrap up.
Oh, I'll keep going.
First, before you flee, Damon, just write invasion on a car windshield in spray paint.
Yes.
Or run. I think it was run.
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 Yeah.
And a big eyeball, I think.
All right.
Not sure. Or is that the wormhole?
All right.
Well,
So that's
Chris,
what we're doing. Yeah.
Albie, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. We definitely got.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This was good.
Great time.
Yep.
Great time.
Like I said, we've set a new record
Thank you so much.
for length of podcast.
Thank you so much.
This will be fun.
Thank
I'd like to thank Damon and Mike for having us. I really appreciate it.
I want to thank the Academy.
Okay.
Yes.
Cue the music.
This means the world to me. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah, if you guys would-
YouTube.com/@TrekExploration.
Yep. Any of the other socials, you guys?
Just search Trek Exploration.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we're on Insta.
Yeah, and
we're
then-
on Blue Sky.
Yeah, we're on the Blue Sky,
We have a PO
Blue
box.
Sky,
So,
smiling at me.
you can send me your Sliders
Yeah.
Comics PO Box 542, Bayport, New York 11705. There you go.
All right.
Search Trek Exploration and say, no, I do not mean Trek Exploration, and then we'll come up.
Right. All right. Take us out, Mike. I think we're good.
All right. Well, Albie already said it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Put your comments down below. We didn't get to the roundup today, but we'll do it in the future.
Yeah, we'll do it soon.
In the meantime, you can check us out on our website, fandomentanglement.com. We got an email address that you can link from there, Facebook group on there. We're on Blue Sky and Mastodon as well, so all those links are on our website. Just go to our website and carry on.
Yep.
So until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Damon.
I'm
I'm
Chris.
Albie.
All right. Keep on sliding.
Keep on sliding, everybody.
And watch out for Kromaggs.
Sliders.